Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 3 at Santa Anita on Sunday. It's one of 2 graded stakes races on the card. This is the Providencia. We're going 1.125 miles on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. Let's take a look at this field. There's some promising horses in the 6-horse group, especially your morning line favorite, the number 4, Ancient Peace. She's won her last 2 starts in impressive gate-to-wire fashion, one on turf, one on dirt, and she looks like she has a lot of upside.
Yeah, she really does. Has a huge pedigree behind her, too, for John Sadler. So we'll see how much more she can improve going forward. Dan, it feels like there's a lot of potential here. She's still a little bit green. Feels like she's still figuring things out, but she can run.
She has a lot of speed, but so does the horse directly to her inside. That's the number 3, Broadway Girls. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Timeform US believes that Ancient Peace might have the lead after the first half mile. Broadway Girls could keep her company. Is that worrisome for the favorite, that Broadway Girls stretching out in distance might be very aggressively ridden and try to take the track from the 4, Ancient Peace?
Yeah, it could certainly happen here, Dan. There's the potential for the 3 and the 4 to get involved early on this pace, if only because Broadway Girls, they cut her back last time and it didn't work out, but they've routed her on turf 3 times, and she was clear on the lead in all 3 of those races.
A filly that Timeform US believes the Kentuckian behind the leaders is the number 1, Pleasant Wave, who was dismissed at over 60-1 2 starts back when beaten by Broadway Girls in the Blue Norther. They cut her back in the Sweet Life last time out. She finished behind a solid winner, a horse that came back to run 3rd in the Angels Flight Stakes with a 74 buyer. She still, to me, has lots to prove against stakes competition.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I don't really mind them stretching her back out here, Dan, just to see what happens. And maybe she'll fall into a real trip here. If the 3 and the 4 go, she could just maybe ride the rail behind them in a really good spot. The question is, even if she pulls that kind of trip, is she good enough to take advantage? Based on the Blue Northern 2 starts back, she's not.
The number 2, Miss Lizzie, had a lot of new things going for her last time out. It was first time blinkers. It was first time dropped into a maiden claimer. It was first time turf, and she was moving from route to sprint, and it all paid off as the 5-2 favorite. Here's Miss Lizzie going 3/4 of a mile, angling to the outside, running down the leaders. This was by far her best performance to date. She still has a lot of work to do, however, as she steps back up in class and distance against much tougher.
Yeah, it's a tougher race for her. I actually like them, sort of pressing on though and giving her a test against some better horses though. I know that she cut back last time. I don't think sprinting was the key to her success there, Dan. Maybe it was turf. I thought she finished that race off really well, but she did not look like a sprinter to me in the early part of that race. Anyway, so I don't mind them stretching her back out. I don't know if she's good enough. I think 5-1 morning line's a terrible price on her, but if she drifts off that, I could use it.
The 3 is Broadway Girls. She's already a stakes winner. She went gate to wire in her final start as a 2-year-old. She won the Blue Norther. They tried dirt with her. That didn't work out. I was a little disappointed in her race in the Lady of Shamrock 2 starts back, where she just got a clear early lead and she got very tired. Last time they turned her back in the Angels Flight. It was a race where they ran 1, 2, 3 around the track, and she wasn't aggressively ridden. I think she'll be more aggressively ridden here.
I do too. I think I have the same concerns that you do, though, Dan. Those first 2 wins on the turf, including the Blue Norther, I liked those performances. I thought she looked pretty good winning. She has not run particularly well since then in any of those starts, including the race 2 back.
Ancient Peace won her 2nd lifetime start on turf. This was at Santa Anita going 1 mile. She was trained by Graham Motion in this race. Her final start as a 2-year-old. It was her first race with blinkers. She went right to the lead. She was very, very impressive, striding out the final 3/16 of a mile. After this race, Mike mentioned her pedigree. She went through the auction ring and she sold for $650,000, and she didn't disappoint in her first start, an off-turf race where she just opened up this huge lead and kept right on rolling.
Yeah, that was impressive stuff last time. It probably wasn't against much of a field, but she was just rolling right along on the lead there and just kept getting further away from those horses. I like that win that we just watched too, though, Dan. Really green early in that race and hard to settle, but she just kept going on the lead there. That was a good performance. Her debut, deceptively good with basically an impossible trip. I think there's a lot of talent here.
Paris Secret is the number 5. And if the 3 and the 4 hook up in a pace battle, Paris Secret might be the best pure closer in this race. Timeform US has her as the best late pace figure horse. She made her debut overseas with a winning effort in Ireland, made her first start for Phil D'Amato last time out. That was the China Doll Stakes. It was a race where she was just sort of last on the rail, turning for home. The race, the pace held up. The winner went gate to wire, and she ran on a little bit at the end. I think she gained fitness from that race. I think she gets more to run at here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. She didn't do a ton of running last time, but things certainly didn't set up great for her there. And maybe she just needed the race anyway. That debut, I know she was a big price when she won first time out, and she got a great trip in that race, but she also really ran at the end.
The number 6 is Una Palabra. This horse earned a stakes placing in her most recent turf start. This is the Princess of Palm Stakes at Turf Paradise, going a 2-turn, 7.5 furlongs. She's right in the fray in mid-stretch. She'll end up finishing second ahead of 2 other next out dirt winners. She would bounce out of this race to win the Arizona Oaks on dirt. She looks like she's a fairly consistent horse. Turf doesn't seem to be a problem. From a class standpoint, this is a lot different.
Yeah, it is. I don't mind them switching to turf either. I think she's pretty good on both surfaces. I actually really liked the Arizona Oaks win 2 back on dirt. I thought she earned that victory, but it still probably doesn't make her good enough to win this race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for race number 3 at Santa Anita on Sunday, the grade 3 Providencia. Mike, you're going with Ancient Peace. You've been very impressed with her thus far. She gets tested against stakes horses here. She looks like the goods.
I like all of her races, so I stuck with her, Dan. I realized that there's a chance she gets hooked on the pace here and it sort of blows up in her face, but I think there's a lot of room for her to improve.
I think the 5 Paris Secret gained a lot of fitness from her most recent start. I think she's going to get out into the clear for the stretch run this time. And I'm expecting a strong late run from her. I hope she drifts up a bit off of her morning line. Mike's going with the 4 Ancient Peace. I'll take the 5 Paris Secret in the grade 3 Providencia. It's one of 2 graded races at Santa Anita on Sunday. Good luck.